Well, it is afternoon and this is my first video of the day. I've been watching the kids and we've been playing. It's been a little time on the computer. This is supposed to be the third day that I have gone, I shouldn't stand in front of the window, that I have gone over the data, and that was kind of important, and then I just keep finding other things to do. I posted on Twitter about some of my frustrations about feeling like there's part of me that feels like I can't do this. Can I do this? I mean, that's what I'm asking myself. And had a few of my followers really encourage me and say, the work you're doing is worth it. And I was feeling bummed out about my work with the church, and I'm helping to coordinate the volunteers, and just feeling like I'm not really crushing that job either. And it's just making me think like, well, can I do this? And if I can't even make, volunteers and get that thing happen for a simple, weekly thing, how am I going to coordinate volunteers for a school and coordinate funding and budgeting and all this stuff? And so it's just really feeling kind of anxious. And like I shared yesterday, I think there's kind of this, what I tend to do with projects is I tend to look at the top of the hill where I'm going, and I can't see the steps in between. And what I was talking to Kristen about last night is that I can't just wish myself to the top of the hill. It's not just money. Like, I can't just, throw a bunch of money at something and then get there. I have to take the steps. And so this morning I spent a little extra time on that volunteer job, and I spent some time in prayer, honestly, just thinking about, if I can't be faithful in this one thing that you've given me, and because I believe that our work comes from God, then how can I show myself faithful in a large school? And so I just spent some time meditating on that idea, and then reached out to some more people, sent out some emails, put some more people from the church in my contact list, and just called them. And I started to feel better, and it made me think, when we have something to do, when we can execute on something and not just have an idea, because the school honestly is a lofty idea. And what I'm trying to capture in this channel is execution, not just ideas, but execution of those ideas. And once I was able to execute and talk with someone and put somebody in a time slot for volunteering, it's like, okay, that feels good. It feels good to get something done. And that may be a very small thing. And you would think, being in my mid-30s, that I would have a lot of this stuff figured out, but I just don't. And I take the blame, and these ambitions are big, so my work ethic has to match those ambitions, I believe. And if I'm not willing to match those ambitions, then I need to learn how to adjust my goals to fit what I'm willing to work toward. So those are some of my thoughts. I don't know how much I'll capture today. I actually kind of have a busy afternoon. I have a interview with a local artist today. I'm talking to her about her book, and so I'm excited for that. And yeah, so there should be some other interesting stuff going on. I think this is day 22, 3 weeks in, and this was yesterday, and yesterday was one of those first big speed bumps. But I think that's what happens when you talk to people and you get some feedback from them. Some of it hits hard. So I appreciate the insight of good friends who are willing to speak truth and just willing to speak what they see. And that doesn't mean it's true, but it's good to listen to those perspectives. All right, I'm gonna botch this up a little bit. Had a few conversations about sales strategy, marketing strategy. I think people in education are sometimes uncomfortable with those terms applied to education because it feels maybe inorganic. And I think I've had that same issue too, but I started thinking about some of my past, the different jobs that I've had, Think back to this independent shop that I had, that I worked at, called Acoustic Works. It was a guitar shop. Very little sales strategy and sales goals. Same as when I went to AnC Music. Very little strategy, kind of just fly by the seat of our pants. The same thing when I was working with my good friends Charlie and Trisha and Barnaby. Very little sales strategy, goals, things like that. And that's been my world. And so I'm talking with Patrick and Kelly about their business and seeing them explain the things that they want to do in terms of goals, in terms of plan, in terms of strategy. And it was very refreshing to me. And I think some of those things that they're doing, I don't have to do it in the exact same way, but I can learn from it and kind of apply what I'm learning from them in my own way. I can still have my own style about it. You know, I'm pretty scatterbrained, so it's helpful for me to have some goals to look forward to. And I think that's something that was missing from my life, is that mentorship of someone that knew how to do that. Even my mom and my dad, who I love and respect, and I love, you know, who they are and how they do a lot of things. They did not live their life in a way that was like goals and procedures. And for the kinds of changes that I guess that's okay, for the kinds of changes that I really want to make and bring about from a movement perspective, I feel like you have to have that. And I can't think of anyone off the top of my head that has achieved any amount of change who didn't have goals before them sort of lined out. So I'm going to be thinking a lot about that process and what some of those goals might be. Again, Patrick and Kelly from this new startup, being able to watch them work and watch them plan has been enormously helpful, and I can't wait to see what they do with that company.